All right, Tea Party, move over. There's a new political coalition forming now as Democrats are seeking a tougher, more aggressive message to counter President Trump and MAGA. You can say hello to the trash-talking wine moms. The Telegraph noting the popularity of the liberal I've Had It podcast. Front and center, a former reality TV star from Oklahoma, Jennifer Welch. She's now being heralded on the left as the answer or the antidote to Joe Rogan. And it's because of foul-mouthed takes on MAGA Republicans like this one.
Felon is the teeny-weeny mushroom piece of Cankles McTaco at the top of the ticket. I have had it from get your out of the Mexican restaurant, get your fat over to Cracker Barrel. True white supremacists like Stephen Miller. And even though he's Jewish, he's like a Nazi Jew. Moses Mike Grinder Johnson. When I see the Riley Gaines of the world, she's that came in fifth. You get to J.D. Vance, who is a failed drag queen.
This comes as more liberal voices are demanding Democrats ditch civility altogether. Take a listen to comedian Samantha Bee and Hunter Biden.
So sometimes you do just need to stand up and scream. I think civility is pretty overrated. I certainly am not in any way advocating that we edge toward political violence.
What I haven't seen is people going, we need to look at extremism in general and tone down the temperature.
Yeah, no, I need to turn the temperature up. I say that we need to turn the temperature up. I am absolutely 100% not saying that it needs to be violence.
So here's Katie Couric talking to Senator John Fetterman. You can see pushing him to denigrate President Trump and Charlie Kirk.
You don't believe we're living in an autocracy. Would you concede that some of the things that he is doing are clearly anti-democratic and also are potentially even unconstitutional?
We happen to have a different view of these things. You know, it's like, I don't call people fascists or Nazis or compare people to Hitler.
Did you have any issues now in hindsight over some of the things that Charlie Kirk said and some of the rhetoric he used during his life?
I didn't agree with much of it.
So, all right, let's talk wine moms, Jesse. They got 4 million followers on social media.
Yeah.
They got Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, Zohran Mamdani interviewed. They're like number 2 or something on the Apple podcast charts.
They are?
They are.
I checked that. That's wrong.
It's time for you.
Rogan, it's Theo Vaughn, and it's Tucker. They don't even crack the top 10. I can't believe we're leading with these women.
Wait. Oh, for the number 2 on the Apple charts for Society and Culture podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's like the Amazon lists.
Right. So it's like a micro section.
Mm-hmm.
You never want to date a woman like this, and here's why. She writes checks that the boyfriend can't cash. You take a person like this to a bar, she has one pop, runs her mouth, she's going to get slapped. You got to stick up for her, and then you're going to get knocked out. You stay far away. She makes Andrew Dice Clay look like a choir boy. This is like insult comedy without the comedy. It's an hour of hate speech. And I don't even know what hate speech is, but if a right-winger was saying this, they'd be deplatformed. And doesn't it say a lot about the Democratic Party that they actually have people gravitating to this show?
She has a really nice apartment, by the way.
Well, she's an interior decorator. And that's probably where she should have stayed.
She should work on the face, though. But anyway.
The face of the clock, Greg.
Yes.
We have to thank Andy Cohen for this woman. He made her famous, and now we're all paying the price. I looked into her background. She's an atheist, and she divorced her husband, but is still living in the same house as the husband. So the husband left the law practice because he was tied up in a bribery scandal, and he's a recovering alcoholic.
That's not the husband, though.
That's not the husband.
That's Tommy Vitter.
Very clear. He's a pod bro. And so she has a lot of hate and anxiety at home, and she's just projecting it onto the microphone.
But would you have an Aperol spritz with her?
I'll have a drink with pretty much anyone.
There you go. And Greg, you're probably just jealous that you didn't think to call Chuck Schumer Chuckles first.
Yes. I agree with Jesse. It's a slow news day. To kind of position her as an answer to Joe Rogan is ridiculous. Rogan gets millions of people, and his content, believe it or not, is largely apolitical. If you actually watch it, it's scientists, it's athletes, it's musicians, and it's comedians. A lot of them have political opinions, but generally you can get stuck with a 3-hour podcast with an astronomer and fall asleep. That's not what this is. If you call them wine moms, that's fine, but it attracts their own. It mainly is about gaining attention through shock value. That's what this is. It reminds me of Botched. Do you remember? It's a reality show on bad plastic surgery. Yeah. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like, and I think they're using the same people. I've had it, crew. I think the it is like lip injections and Botox shots. It's not a face. It's like a tribute to Easter Island. But it comes off for me. It comes off for me as a vanity project for people scared of aging and desperate for filling some kind of hole in their lives with attention. They're embracing anti-civility because anger is an emotion driven by self-doubt. I've mentioned this before. And they're kind of procrastinating. It's unpleasant to face what is beneath your anger, so you project it instead, because beneath the anger is the fear and self-doubt that you might be wrong. And that is terrifying. This is why you see people, as they get closer and closer to realizing how wrong they are, they only get angrier. When in fact, they could just very easily confront what is underneath the anger, which is this self-doubt. Becomes like an addiction. They cannot imagine what their life would be like without this pursuit. What do I do after that if I stop being angry? Like what Mrs. Kimmel said. She said, I wish I could be deprogrammed. What she was saying is that her life had gotten so narrow that it was just her and Trump. That was it. And it could have been her and vodka or her and pain pills. It's exactly the same thing. It's a relationship that tricks you into the idea that there's nothing else out there. And it's kind of sad. We get content out of this, but it's not an enjoyable life for them. See how compassionate I am?
Yeah, you just went really deep. I was not expecting
$325.
Harold, people are listening, though. There's an audience here.
There is, unfortunately. Good to be with you. The country, you listen to things like that, and you realize that we don't need more rancor or division in the country. That I think deep down inside, I think people want civility. In our politics over the last 20, 25 years, we've seen a degradation in it, both sides. The language, the pursuits. The pursuits seem to be more just winning the campaign and then starting the next campaign right after that campaign is ended, forgetting that you made a set of promises and pledges to people, to voters, that you were going to try to act on and try to improve their lives on. It happens up and down about. You see, I think President Trump, one of the reasons people elected him again was because he promised to deal with things that were hard in people's lives. And if he deals with them in the right way, his party will benefit. These group of people say they are aligned more with my party. They're really not. They're aligned more with the politics of the day and the way politics is litigated and practiced today. You don't solve big problems driving people apart. You don't stare down big challenges. You think about what we were able to accomplish in the 20th century. There was certainly division in our country, but we won 2 world wars. We gave women and blacks the right to vote. We invented the airplane, the radio, the transistor, the assembly line, the internet, the computer. These are all American inventions. For us to win the 21st century, this is not the politics that's going to do it. We've given an example on my side, but there are plenty of examples on the other. And I just hope that we find ways to get above the rancor and division, and not just civility being a thing, but solving problems.
What you have to give an example that is of equal value. You said both sides. I'm going to hold you to it. Do we ever call anybody Hitler or Nazis? I think not, Harold.
No, but
might I add, in your face.
President Trump calls Democrats stupid.
Leaders. He calls leaders. He doesn't call people that. He doesn't call the entire Democrat Party.
Low IQ.
Yeah, he calls them leaders. Yeah, but he doesn't call the vote. He doesn't go after the people because he sees them as votes.
If you want to say Democrats do it 3 out of 4 times more than Republicans, fine. It needs to stop. And I think there are plenty of examples.
He caved.
You know what? I want to solve things. You never hear people. We hear in politics people always saying fight, fight, fight. And I'm not. This is not meant to be against the president or against Democrats. But you never hear people saying solve.
You're
solve, and that's where I am. And
you have a lot in common with Trump because that's all he wants to do is solve. It's the Democrats that just said we need to all the shutdown was the narrative was fight, fight, fight.
Yeah, Emily, there's also this. I want to make sure we get this in. I'll come back to you, Harold. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I forgot. I didn't realize that. Forgive me.
Oh my God, you're like
are
No, I thought you talked already.
America.
Sorry.
Take a look. We have Gallup poll just out that shows record numbers of young women want to leave the U.S. This year, 40% of women polled aged 15 to 44 say they would move abroad permanently if they had the opportunity.
Move abroad.
I would like to follow up and see how many of women actually follow through, but that's a separate topic.
Yeah, great. Bye, girl. Look, I have issues with calling this some type of movement. A movement, to me, actually calls out votes or policy in some reason. And to me, this is defining politics through emotion. There's no persuasion here. There's no policy here. And emotion alone does not produce structural change that you guys desperately need. These individuals are screaming on podcasts. They are lazy. They don't leave their living room. They gussy themselves up in their designer closets and they put their headphones on behind their bangs and make sure they look cute for the masses. They're not actually interacting with people, and they certainly as hell are not interacting with those Americans that they are denigrating for shopping at Walmart or eating at Cracker Barrel like I do. And I think it might feel cathartic for them to shout and to feel, the replies and the responses from other moms, like, you go, girl, because maybe their husband's ignoring them. But for those of us in the real world, it's actual connections and actual policies that actually matter. So what the media here, the left-wing media, is calling a movement, it's actually just an emotional outlet. We are watching them have a tantrum. And the reason that the rhetoric is escalating, the reason they are foul-mouthed and failed drag queens, look who's talking, the reality is it's because the outcomes aren't escalating. So in their desperation, as they see that so many people with common sense have flocked to Donald Trump's movement, the populist movement where people see power has been restored to the individuals, they are losing their minds. True movements have strategy. They have strategy, they have organization, they have cohesion. This has what? Vibes. So to sum up, to me, this is just hysteria, and the only good hysteria is Def Leppard's album.
Oh, that's a good way to go out. That and pointing out that Greg has affected a lot of change, structural change, through being very emotional.
Yes,
right?
that's true.
You wouldn't deny that.
Oh, I'm a very emotional person.
You're the exception to the rule.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.